the Steelers over-under win total, several betting lines, Caesars, DraftKings, FanDuel, set the Steelers win total over-under at 7.5. And I tell you what, like, I have nervousness and trepidation that the 2022 season will be head coach Mike Tomlin's first losing season. But I still kind of like the over because 7.5, remember, there's a 17-game regular season now as well. Where are you at on this line? Honestly, Vegas always does it perfectly, but I'm going to be a yinzer. I'm going to be glass half full. I say take the over, even though I think the Steelers could go like 8-9 this season.
Yeah, see, my first mind saying 8-9, but just the betting part of me is don't bet against Coach Tomlin. That's the betting part of it. So deep down, like, oh yeah, they definitely going 8-9, you know. But then the other side, like, damn, I forgot who the head coach is. Like, Coach T always find a way to figure a bad situation out, or what we think is bad. We might, as outsiders, might think is bad. Them guys in the locker room, like, man, Coach Tomlin done pumped so much good stuff in us. Man, we won with Duck Hodges. Duck Hodges. So just picture what we can do with, you know, a former first-round draft pick.
Sorry, like Duck Hodges, you're exactly right, because I always look at he was the fourth stringer coming into that year, remember, because Josh Dobbs got traded to the Jaguars. Big Ben obviously got hurt. Mason Rudolph was there as well. So he was really the fourth stringer. But then Duck Hodges, and like, look, I love Duck Hodges, but he didn't even start for a CFL team, Mike.
Right.
So, like, that was the quarterback that you had to play with that year because that's who was available. And the Steelers still went 500 that season. And so that was when we started the show too. And like, oh man. So the disrespect though comes from, there's a lot of factors that go into this. Obviously, Ben Roethlisberger retiring, the impending retirement of GM Kevin Colbert, 2 future Hall of Famers.
Right.
The question of what does Mitch Trubisky look like in Matt Canada's system, something we're going to be talking about all offseason long on into training camp. And then the improvements across the board in the AFC North. So the Browns bringing in Deshaun Watson. You've got the Bengals building up their offensive line with La'el Collins as well. The Steelers also. So obviously the AFC North teams, but they'll be taking on teams from both the AFC East and the NFC South in the 2022 regular season. I like the over. I will always like the over, given Mike Tomlin's resume and what he's shown in 15 years going into year 16. But, man, it's going to be really, really tough. And it's not just the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. The Ravens are going to get healthy again. You know, what the Browns look like as well, because they're going to be rebuilt, considering that they had made the playoffs 2 seasons back. This division is just going to be, like Cam Hayward says, bring all the smoke. We'll see what happens come September.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough division, especially when Deshaun Watson get done with his suspension.
Yep.
You know, you got Joe Burrow, you got Lamar Jackson coming back healthy. You know, so they're gonna load up at the wide receiver position for him. They had a lot of guys who were injured, a lot of starters who was injured for the Baltimore Ravens. So you can only imagine when they come back with a healthy team, and then you got, you know, we got Mr. Trubisky. So we shall see. And that's exactly how I gotta say it. Like I said, like, we got Mitchell Trubisky. So basically we got if you draft him right now, you know, out the four quarterbacks in the AFC North, which one are you taking last?
I mean, here's the thing too, Ike. I would consider Tyler Huntley, maybe even Jacoby Brissett in that same conversation with Trubisky. So we already know, you always say this, Ike, if you're asking the question, you already know the answer. I mean, come on. And that's, look, maybe we were being a little bit overly harsh on Trubisky, but that's more so about what Joe Burrow's done, what Lamar Jackson done, what Deshaun Watson has done in this league. Yeah,
that's all. That no disrespect to Mitchell Trubisky. Is just, you know, them 3 guys you just named between Joe, Deshaun Watson, and Lamar Jackson. We talking about a former league MVP. We talking about a guy who just came from out the Super Bowl, and we talking about another guy. If he would have had any kind of talent around him, Deshaun Watson, on the offense or defensive side, there was one game away from going to the Super Bowl on beating Kansas City at home. So this is no disrespect to Mitchell. You just talking about the resumes and the guys who are in front of him. They got real good resumes.